Hi, welcome everyone. This is the commentary from Iglo, season 2022, Group J, round second, where Szymon, who played as white, and Boriss, who played as black, were fighting against each other. And as we can see, black has won by killing some major white groups, although the the very game, especially its beginning, was particularly interesting because of some broken ladder sequences. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happened exactly. Alright, let us start from Fuseki. We can see now that black has chosen a particularly high approach from both his corners. So like we have Hoshi, which is also extending in both cases towards the fourth line. So white have uh, should have used some opportunities to attack black from the lower third line, something like this or this. As we can see that black cannot control his potential territory entirely. And this is what happens. White approaches the lower right corner. Black chooses the higher approach again, which should suggest to it that he should attack the lower right corner from some very territorial side, something like this. Although white has chosen to play such a such an aggressive move, which unfortunately is easy to disconnect from his first stone. And white is not choosing the crosscut, which should be probably a little bit better, as black gets way too much thickness over here, and white is left behind with two weak groups. So firstly, he should have probably chosen such an opening, as black would probably play something like this. We can either try some more aggressive approach, or even play more calmly. In any way, we are getting the strong, stable group, and we should not be so much afraid about the wall, which is cooperating with this stone, because we still, as white, we still have plenty of opportunities to invade black in several points of the board. And beside this, white also gets a nice influence over the left part of the board. So such an approach to the game would equalize the chances to win for each side. So the game is still pretty even, and here we got some disharmony, which leads us to the point that black basically has no weak points, because it looks like in any case black can connect all his stones if he really wishes to do this. And when we seek for the following of the game, it also looks like white cannot handle with all his weaknesses, as he always will have too little liberties in some part of his group. So right now the problem is like white cannot accept the loss of two stones. Instead of playing the broken ladder, which ends without any gain for him, instead of this he should most probably play something like here, as black can not play in such a way. would probably kill these stones in some moment, which would enable white to produce some potential for thickness in future, which would from other side, which would enable white to attack, for example, these stones in some part of the later game. Obviously, such a loss is pretty irritating from white's point of view, as black gets some little advantage, but it's not a big loss. We need to underpoint this, as white still can create some thickness, some potentially strong stones, and he can make another black group weaken, which is the main point of this game. We need to exploit some weaknesses in black potential more. So this is the improper approach for this game, as we lead the ladder, which only make us as white weaker and weaker. So right now white actually admits that he has made a serious mistake, and now he tries to protect his stones in a desperate way. Black obviously exploits this weakness. White desperately tries to create some life on the lower part of the board, and in this moment black has made his own miscount, as this cut is not working as well. Actually, this pincer should not be treated by black as a potential significant treat for black, as black can just play something like this. He can just enlarge his corner. He can also attack these stones in some way, and to kill them once and for all. Or he can also play something like this. He has plenty of possibilities to keep pressure on these white stones, and here he has just chosen the worst way to deal with these stones, as we can clearly see that he miscounted. He didn't he 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 didn't he did he didn't notice the way of how this ladder is going, so he had to accept his local loss, and his advantage has diminished a little bit, although still black seems to be leading at few points, especially that he is keeping center, which he uses to enlarge his corner. Here we can see another major mistake from actually both sides, as the white lower group, as it stands here, is not settled yet. So it looks like whoever plays there first, he can make either life or death for this group. So if white has chosen such a move like this, it's pretty possible that there could have been some life in such a shape. Perhaps not like this, but something like this. Such a shape seems to be alive. So perhaps white shouldn't have played such a local move, which is not even killing these two stones entirely, because black notices that he needs to settle this group eventually. And it seems like white cannot produce two eyes, so this group remains dead, and black is ahead for 20 or even 30 points as for now. So it means that white needs to play way more aggressively from this point, and he needs to seek either some way of resurrecting these white stones, which seems pretty possible for now, or to create some recompensation of this loss. He tries to create some territory in another corner, but it looks like he doesn't really know how should he create a stable and unconditional life in the corner when black already has two stones over here. Firstly, I would consider some other approach like this. Perhaps something like this, let us suppose. Or we can even attach to the stone in such a way. Probably in the latter part of the game we would be able to isolate this lone stone and try to attack him in some fierce way. Right now we need to be absolutely sure that this group is going to be alive, otherwise we will get just another problem which only worsens our situation, which is not the best anyway. Alright, here I will probably consider a straight connection, because even if black plays in such a way, we probably have several ways to exploit this weakness. It's pretty possible that black will miscount in some part of this Tesuji, and he will be forced to give back some stones to white. So that would be probably a more efficient way to get away from this encirclement. And here we have a call which is particularly hard to white for win, as white doesn't have a proper call threat for now. So all what he can do is just trying to isolate the stone, which still has pretty much free space over here. He can just extend in this direction, which he's making in some more unexpected way. So it looks like white gets even more behind with the result, and black still leads with a safe advantage. Here one could probably choose another approach, probably something like this, which could us help to isolate this lone stone, and afterwards white could probably try to create some wider zone of influence here, which could be some chance to recompensate these two losses. As we can see that black has too much free space in the left upper corner to be killed by white. White just doesn't have enough strength to make such an attempt. So white needs to find a most efficient way to create either stable territory or some white influence which might be connected with other part of his strength. So basically speaking, if black gets this and this and probably something over here, we need to create some wider influence either here or here, and this side looks probably more promising, so that would be our only chance from white's perspective to create some balance for this game. Right now black gets an interesting influence which is supporting him even more in diminishing the white's chances to change the result of this game. As we see that white has got some territory which is pretty large, but it doesn't bring the chance, it doesn't bring the perspective to create some wider zone, some moyo, which would be a recompensation for this and this. I'm not entirely sure if black really wants to play this, because this edge is located in such a way that it's very unlikely that white will start to play like here. Black would probably just keep pushing white from another side, and white stones would be a little bit too heavy for me to take such actions. Probably something like this, but still I feel like black gets more than he gives back. Right now this stone might be a little bit over concentrated. Black would just prefer to have this stone a little bit further away. But okay, the game is moving on, and here we also see that white is using the opportunity that the E14 is not located here or here, as white has, it seems that he has enough space to attack the stone, although I would probably try to play something like here in order to enlarge this zone of attack. Perhaps in later part of the game we will be able to weaken both of these groups, or at least one of them. Right now we keep pressure only on one of these groups, and we are unable to surround it, to cut the way out. From the other side, I don't really understand why black plays like here, because he simply doesn't need to do this. All what he needs to do right now is just to make sure that none of his group is left with a danger of being killed. This group looks like way too safe to be afraid about it, and this group should just be focused on running towards the center. This and this group are entirely safe. Nobody threats them, nobody endangers them. So our only two problems and where only two potential problems are located here and here. So there is no reason to be involved in such fights, which for me doesn't make really sense, as white would have played something like here, and he could have got a better shape with leaving some potential cutting point over here, which could have been exploited in the later part of the game. Right now the game is moving on, and black still is getting away from the potential encirclement, and as we see, white is unable to surround it, as black simply has too much space. Alright, this is the moment when white needs to look calmly at the board and ask himself if there is any point, any opponent's group which has any potential to be weakened. As we have already established, there are 4 black major groups. This is one major group, this is second major group. They are totally safe. This group is not also the best object to be attacked, as its escape towards the center is way too wide. We are unable to close it, so there's only this group which can be attacked in any way. So probably what white should have done right now is to approach it from perhaps this perspective and just try to limit its scope as much as he can do. Perhaps in course of this fight he would create some wall over here, which could be used either to make some bigger points over here, or perhaps in some part of the game even to close black from this side. But right now we are only trying to surround some minor points over here, while black still potentially has some way to attack it and diminish it. So this move basically doesn't help white in any way, and black just plays Yose. Perhaps from black perspective that would be a bigger move, as he should not be afraid about losing these two stones, as they are way too little gain for white to get back to the game to equalize the result. So I do not feel this fight very well. I believe that all this sequence should be left for the Yose. Alright, it looks like black has been able to create some thickness which can be used to create his own zone of influence in this part of the board. So this is even another reason for white to avoid such a way of fighting. He should have just left the stone alone and attack this group, try to get some own initiative as soon as he can, because otherwise we see that we are unable to get center, although perhaps this is also a proper moment for playing like this. And while losing center, we are left in a very uncomfortable position to attack any of the black stones from the left part of the board. We are playing a stone deep inside the black's moyo, which cannot be connected in any way, and white creates yet another weak group. So it is like it was the white who should have attacked his opponent, and right now black, who already wins significantly, he gets another chance to make the result even better for him. So something went definitely wrong from white's perspective. He should have played in this part of the board way earlier. Right now white simply focuses on how not to lose this game even stronger. I don't think that black needs to kill this stone right now. Probably it's enough to remain stable and safe, because even if white plays like here, it kills everything. Even if white plays like here, black can just play here and everything is totally okay from his point of view. Nobody threatens him. Right now white gets some chance to get through the black's fortifications, and this group might be potentially weakened in the nearest future. So that was a minor mistake from black's point of view. Here black would probably just play it like here, and white looks significantly weakened, while he also cannot play like here, as black maintains the connection. But okay, the result remains basically the same. White is desperately trying to create some life with his group, and it looks like he manages to do it. So the result basically is pretty as it was before, because before this fight this whole part of the Goban remained unsettled, and in terms of points it remains to be as it was, as black gets some minor points over here and white destroyed this potential moil, but still black is ahead. So from tactical perspective it is a draw, but from the strategical point of view black still wins, and this is our problem. Obviously we could have considered some attempt to keep the stones cut from the upper group, but I understand that white could have played like this and black would have some problems. So obviously that's not the best way to play for him. He just eliminated potential agility to his shape, and that caused this connection. Although I believe that black could have played something like this. Still, he cannot connect all of the stones, and right now it looks like we have some miai. Either we play like here or like here. In any case, black maintains his connection. And right now white gets some opportunity to save all his stones, which can be considered as a minor loss from black's perspective, but okay. For him the task is very simple, just to maintain the current result. And here we see that black should have played in this position, because otherwise white could have played just like here, and right now it's pretty possible that these stones are cut from other groups. So that was probably a little bit too risky. Only now black gets another way to pass through white's trap. Perhaps white could have played something like here. If black played like here, it might be still some call fight, which still left black dead in case of the loss. Alright, so it looks like that was the last chance for white to change the fate of this game. Both sides are just playing some Yose moves. Here white tries to create some minor life, but he remains unable to do it. Here probably white could have just ignored this and either play like here or just wait with the move for the later part of the game. Nothing special happens for this moment, and the game ends with such a result when black kills the whole lower white group. And we see that even besides minor losses, it is totally enough for him to win, because this is a huge chunk of territory which white couldn't recompensate in any other part of the board. So the game was basically decided somewhere over here, probably this broken ladder was the losing point for white, as he just created an enormously strong influence for black, which together with these further stones are creating a powerful wall, a powerful defense, which white cannot exploit in any way. Even regardless of this mistake in Joseki, if white has chosen some calmer approach and he has tried to weaken some other stones, the game would be still playable and black couldn't be absolutely certain of the victory. But here black is getting a very strong position with white's hands. Obviously, it's a little bit too calm to say that game is already lost by white, especially after this senseless exchange. But still, black has created some huge potential, which is too big to be destroyed by white. Perhaps if white has chosen another move like here, the game could have had another scenario. But after killing this group, it looks like white needs a huge black mistake in order to revenge this loss. Such a mistake didn't appear, and what we basically observed in the whole remaining part of the game was just the white's attempt to force black to make some mistake, but it eventually didn't come, and black, although he also made some minor mistakes, he basically managed to sustain his advantageous result, and in such a way he won and he proved his strength. So from my side, it's all for now. I thank you for this for your attention. I hope that you appreciate this commentary, and in case of any questions, I encourage you to contact me through email or commentaries below this video. Bye.